Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. This is the final of the Legend of the Stars qualifier number 2, and we have a couple of players beginning with T, who maybe were not expected to get to the final. Certainly they're very good players, but maybe they're not the first choice. But here they are in a very stacked tournament in the final. It's ThomasH in the bottom right in the grey and Tagada in the blue, both playing Cybran on Eye of the Storm. So some chat. Patrick thinks it's bad to go mid with the ACU. Well, it has been tried a few times, a bit more often recently. I think people are just trying to mix it up a bit in tournaments. They don't want to do the exact same thing that they always do. Try and get an advantage somehow. So maybe people are trying to go to mid a bit more. Mephi won 2016 by doing it. That's a pretty good memory to remember that. So what do we have? Well, all the plugs from the last video are still relevant. What's that? Bloodeer's channel. He still only has one video. I'm scared that it won't turn into more videos, so go over and subscribe and comment on his video to make more. Medicraze has a nice video up. There is a under 1000 rated tournament on the 30th. Let me check. Yeah, it should be on the 30th of November for under 1k rated players. And there's $50 prize pool. Go check that out. And there is WWPC is back, so check that out too. Now the game. Let's see. We have only engineers so far. No scouts. Wow, there's no scouts from anyone actually. No labs and no tanks. Okay. Finally, we have one tank coming out. Takes a long time for labs to arrive, so you can really delay that first tank. Let's see how many engineers he made before that. 4, 5, 6, 7. Thomas still only has engineers. He has 8 now, but he's quickly adding a second land factory. He is lacking a bit of mass. You can see he's grabbed all the almost all the rocks here out of these trees as well. That is a small source of income. These trees actually here, there's some rocks in them and they are tree groups. So I don't know, you don't really see them get taken too often, but you should at some point take that bit of reclaim. No engineer sent to mid from Thomas because his big engineer is going there with its... Damn, what's the gun called? Does it say on here? No, it doesn't. Is it the Chronotron amplifier? I feel like that's one of the guns. I can't remember. Maybe that's the gun upgrade. But anyway, he's sending his ACU there. Let's see. Microwave accelerator. All these names. So we have a transport under construction now. Tagada is probably doing similar, if I remember what he likes to do. Well, no, he actually isn't. He's gone for a bomber. He has his inties ready. He's scouting now, looking for transports, engineers. Maybe he sent the... Maybe he should have waited for the bomber to come out. But it doesn't look like Thomas is trying to shoot down these scouts anyway. Meanwhile, Tagada sending that engineer there. He's actually going to take all the reclaim first and then go for the mexes. So he is actually going to get all of the larger chunks of mass. And Thomas will arrive, kill the engineer, take the mexes. Probably build a factory there. Well, maybe. And then from there, maybe he'll move his ACU to a certain corner Will he move against Tagada's ACU in this corner, or will he go to the corner unoccupied by an enemy ACU? I don't know. Now, what's going on here? Oh, Tagada's going for the transport. He has spotted it, and he has targeted it, and now he's pulled out of targeting the transport to try and win this airfight, and he's not going to win it. That was not a good turn. Better micro from Thomas there. And he has saved his transport, and he's going to pick up those units. Well, the engineers anyway. The Mantis have to walk. Tagada is going to try and catch the transport anyway. It's not going to be successful. Doesn't get any shots away. He's sending quite a few tanks to the south now, actually. So he has a couple additional factories in the base. And Thomas only has one additional factory in the base. And a T2 mech, so that's quite expensive. Have extra land production and a T2 mech, but I guess this T2 mech is not super quick for this map. Sometimes you see very fast T2 mechs on this map, but Tagada has none, instead putting that mass into factories here. He will probably start a mechs in the near future once he sees that Thomas already has one. You really don't want to let this advantage accrue for too long. You always have to catch up in economy. Don't really have a choice. Well, either you catch up in economy or you win the game before that economy makes the difference, really. Bit of a skirmish. These units are very much needed for Thomas, and he doesn't really have enough. He's sort of wasting them a little bit, has to be said. Not the best micro there, and then he got stuck on the water, I think, actually. Which is not good for him. Now, there is a factory up, but there's nothing else, really. So these engineers should all die. And perhaps the mexes too. Here's a drop. And a jester. 2 jesters, actually, from Thomas. So he's attacking... This was never taken, actually, by Tagada. For some reason. But, yeah, this is a very nice attack from Thomas. Also, you can see he's getting the middle. Actually, he's putting a PD there. I don't know why he would put a PD there and not a factory. Don't understand that, to be honest. Oh, this is big damage, and a drop now going to come in and do even more damage. There's only one unit here. So all these mexes are going to die. The jester on this side that was attacking has been killed. Left some juicy mass. The corner is under a lot of pressure, but still it's not dying. Tagada hasn't killed any of the mexes or denied any of them. He may be about to do that now, but ooh, the air is really bad. Thomas is winning this air control. Tagada has now 2 T2 mexes. Thomas, similar, has 2, but he started his 3rd. And he's winning air control, and that means there's not going to be any drop to this corner. Then that would be exactly what Tagada needs, would be to take this corner right now. He can certainly come over here and kill. He has enough mantis to kill this factory. But he can't get a drop here because of Thomas's air. His transport has now died in his base. And that is really painful because, well, I mean, just look at the carnage. This is so much dead stuff. 7 dead mexes here, and they're very spread out. It's going to take a long time to take those back. 2 dead here, a 3rd one about to die. May even kill the engineer that's expanding. That would be really painful. Yep. This damage is just horrible. And now his expansion under attack. He has no units here, and his ACU came across to the left to kill the mantis that were dropped. Now mantis run into the back of his expansion, or his furthest expansion, and may kill all of the mexes here. Oh, this one survived. Oh, wait. Oh, 3-pointer to finish off the last mix. And now he has nothing. No mexes at all on this side of the map. You know, has the 6 base mexes, and that's it. That is his entire income. Actually, no, he has these 2 here. But yeah. That's crazy. That's just insane damage from Thomas. Now he can send his ACU down here. He can secure this with his ACU quite comfortably once it arrives, and that should be just about game right now. Interesting place for a naval yard. I guess he just had the build power available, just had an engineer available, and his frigate is going to be here at the exact right time. Navy will be denied because there's no torp defense. When this is happening, when you're getting attacked and your naval production is just later than your opponent, you have to get torpedo defense up so that you can actually defend your production until you start producing your own naval units. In this scenario, he can kill the factory. He can also, while he's killing the factory, kill the unit that is under construction, even if it's a submarine. Submarines are still built on the surface, and so he's ground firing the production location, locking the factory, and also hitting the factory because it has AoE, this frigate. So yeah, you really don't have a chance at this point. So game 1 looking very good for Thomas. This is quite strong performance. Tagada now looking to drop the middle, take back the middle. He can't take the bottom left now. He knows that. Has to look for somewhere else to expand into and take away from Thomas. Now that the bottom left is not an option, and he forces an air fight, which he will actually win. And that was a very nice micro. I think Thomas maybe shouldn't have gone for the transport. In hindsight, of course. Maybe he should have just tried to get a good air fight, but actually in the end he got decent turn at the end, but just had far less by that point. So we have 6 engineers dropped, and there is a PD in the way. Oh, look at this, Wagner's already coming to the middle. What a beautiful time to arrive. Just as Tagada is dropping, trying to retake this, he will be denied by the Wagners. Oh, this PD has no vision actually, and so it couldn't even see the newly built PD and got killed by it. That's quite interesting. What's going on? Well, these frigates are actually killing power in the base. Ooh, it has a veteran seat. And they're killing Medusa. They're trying to fight back. Just has to keep moving, and those Medusa won't be able to do anything. So we have T2 land. Ooh, T2 Navy now from Thomas as well. The classic game ender on Eye of the Storm. T2 air for Tagada. Very normal to have T2 air when you're struggling with the Navy. That's really the best way to get your foot back in the door. I mean, there's different ways. He could have built naval production here. This would be the best way, maybe. Would be just to make naval production over here. Thomas has to run over here and try and deny this, but you can have your torp defense up, or even 2 torp defense up, and then you can get back in the Navy. Well, with T2 air, you can actually kill some T2 ships as well, which is obviously going to be pretty important in a minute. Here comes the first unit out, and it's a cruiser, followed by a second cruiser, and that's pretty reasonable to go for cruisers in this situation as a Cybrant when your opponent has no naval production whatsoever. If he had even some naval production, I would probably say you should go for a destroyer first. Even if you have naval control, the destroyer can do a lot more damage. It has a lot more HP and it can deal with submarines and stuff. But cruiser is reasonable here. He has been able to rebuild a lot of his air though, and is using some air staging out on the map. That's quite nice. I always like to see that. Torpedo bombers are going to remove the frigates from the premises, and torpedo defense is going up, and a naval factory as well, and it's going straight to T2. So Tagada is still trying, but again he's lost all of these mexes now to those Wagners, and doesn't look like Thomas has really invested into too many Wagners actually. You can see they're just not getting dealt with. There's no Wagner wrecks here. All the Wagners were able to get through, do damage, and not really leave any mass at all. And now they're running towards the base. Okay, this one got killed by torpedo defense. That's something at least, but now there's 2 on land units. Yeah, this is quite over. Tagada with the gun now is actually under fire from a cruiser. The second cruiser that's come out. This expansion is dying to T2 Navy. There's really nothing Tagada can do at this point. And we're gonna move on to the second game shortly. There's no, I don't see any snipe planned here. There's jesters that, but they're just there to kill the Mantis. Tagada is now under fire from jesters himself and cruisers. The gun upgrade doesn't look so good now. It's dying to air and navy. Oh, some units arrived to give him some veterancy, so he survives slightly longer. And there he goes. GG. Very nicely played from Thomas. Huge damage. Just the brutal raids with the jesters. Some drops. Wagners later on. Very nice. Going to mid worked well. I wonder if the chat at the start was some gamesmanship, perhaps, from Thomas. Wouldn't put it past him. Right, let's move on to the second game and see what happens there. See if we have any different factions, perhaps. Alright, we're on Chiron. And we got 2 Sirens. Once again, staying in their comfort zone. So, we'll see second air. Will we see a transport immediately? How will they play the early game? There are quite a few ways to open on this map, but I think going straight for a transport is quite risky, but it's also doable. So we got an Inti and a second Inti. So Thomas not going for the early transport, the fast transport. He's going for Intis. Tagada also going for Intis. They're from the Turin school of island maps. I'm not a fan of the Turin school. I have not studied there. Wouldn't recommend it. So here we go. Inti Wars to begin. And finally, transport now is begun. We have 2 scouts, 4 Intis, and way too much build power assisting this transport. He does not have the resources to make that. Tagada now has his Intis nicely grouped where you want them, and his transport has now started. He had a little bit of resources in the bank before he started the transport, so he's only going to stall halfway through or later. And that's quite a bit better actually from Tagada. The only problem is he's a bit slower to finish, but took less time to build and had less of a stall. And now Thomas only has 3 inties. Tagada is actually looking to catch this transport. Has he? Yes. Oh, this better land. Now Tagada could have microed that better to catch that transport. I don't know if he would have been successful, but he definitely could have microed and got a better turn there. But he does kill the transport and forces all the engineers to drop here, which is still good for him. Thomas is going to make the most of it by grabbing the larger rocks in the area and setting up his spam here, probably getting the Hydra pretty quickly. But we may see we'll have to see a second transport soon. Somehow Thomas got some nice kills there on the inties of Tagada as he was leaving. You can see some wrecks. Tagada now dropping again, as we said, slightly later, but if you notice, he is being able to spread out his engineers, so he can get these mexes a lot faster. The factories will come slightly slower though, for sure. As you can see, he's prioritizing mexes here. You do really sort of lack mass at the start. I mean, he has what, 15 mexes now, so he's in his initial island. He only has 6, which is not great. The next ones are quite far out, so it's not too surprising that he aims to grab mexes quickly. If we look at Thomas, he has quite low eco now, low income, because he could only drop on these 2 mexes. Yes, we only have 9, so quite painful that he actually lost that transport, even though he didn't lose any engineers on board. Thomas, although he had the air advantage afterwards, only caught the transport of Tagada after it had dropped all of its cargo in several locations. But the upside, 2 factories up quickly and units pouring across the map, and there's nothing here. These engineers are dangerously idle. So this expansion looks quite vulnerable now. There will not be units to stop these initial 6 or 8 units that are heading across. Bomber from Tagada is timed very nicely, but does it have target? It does have targets. These guys, oh, they might be, well, one of them will surely die. Oh, see the timing there? It had a move order to here, and the bomb dropped exactly there. If this bomber was like a second later, the engineer would have stopped and the bomb would have dropped just ahead of it, and he would have actually been saved. But he does get the kill. Only 1 kill though, 1 engineer. There was a lot of potential damage for that bomber. You can see these guys. This guy, he could have gotten many kills with that bomber. But, well, there's a lot of potential there that was not realized, unfortunately, for Tagada. Thomas now so far behind on mass already. Total mass is just quite poor for Thomas. Hope he's not making any economy upgrades. I'm sure he isn't. That would be crazy at this point. Oh, wait, never. No, oh, I take it all back. I take it all back. He is making a mech. Which you might realize, I think, is a mistake. Well, this expansion is under pressure, so engineers from, or units from this base will be sent to the expansion, so Thomas is going to be pretty comfortable on this side for a while, that's for sure. But Thomas has not added many more factories in the middle right now, so he has 1, 2, 3. Tagada Mimo has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's taking the middle. Oh yeah, by the way, these things here, very nice reclaim on these rocks. In the middle, definitely send an engineer to those. Tagada also faster in the water. Thomas only expanding via the air, it seems. Did he miss this reclaim? Nope. but he is quite slow on these mexes over here. 3k mass behind, and this expansion has been defended, and I have a bit of reclaim to be regained. PD going up, that's ambitious. Is in range of both the... Oh, he has no resources to actually build this now. Yeah, this doesn't look very good for Thomas at all now. That was a big power stall he had there. And this PD is not going to finish. Still stalling. Oh, the bomber. Yeah, I'm going to kill everything. It could have been pretty funny to actually kill the 2 factories in this expansion and quite a few units probably, but it didn't work out. And now this game looks quite difficult for Thomas to win from here. You can see how important the opening is, and yes. Ooh, another transport. I wonder if there's a specific plan for that transport. Have one here. Don't know what that one was doing. So dropping engineers maybe. Now we see the lack of units is well, it's a problem for Thomas, not Tagada. Thomas still adding T1 factories now. I don't know if Tagada will actually add any more. Probably doesn't really need to at this point. Thomas feels as though he does, but you know, the later you start investing in those T1 factories, the worse it is actually. Like, Tagada at this stage doesn't want to invest in more T1 factories. What he would want to do is, he has enough units, he wants to move to T2. He wants to invest in things that are going to be more useful later in the game. An extra T1 factory for 250 mass, is that really going to be valuable from 11 minutes until the end of the game? It's not going to be that valuable in comparison to making his T1 factories when he did, which was several minutes ago. You get a lot more use out of them. So Thomas is actually already at T2 land. Tagada 70% there. There's quite a few units though. And Navy, we've had Navy around for a little while now, but it looks like Tagada has a bit more. Oh, we have a drop up here. Thomas had this expansion. Well, he was about to finish claiming it. But 2 engineers and a Mantis have been dropped. Does Tagada have resources? He doesn't. This would not be building so slowly if he was not stalling. And that stall denied him from finishing that. PD, another lesson in why you should not stall, especially if you're doing drops and stuff. T2 air is up for Thomas as well. T2 air has long been up for Tagada, has his P-Gen. Similar economy now, but obviously the mass gap is still 6k because Tagada has had his map control for much longer than Thomas. This attack does not look like it will work. These 2 Medusa will get nice damage though, probably. Yep, not bad. And the units got saved, so not too bad for Tagada there. Didn't waste the units. You know, retreating is not a bad option. You should really... It's actually a very good option most of the time. T2 land is up, Wagners and Rhinos also. I don't see any hoplites. We have flak, we have 3 T2 mechs here. No support factories yet for Tagada, but he does have his T2 land up. And he is making hoplites, which is nice to see. Can he get some good use out of them? That's a dead Wagner. I don't know how long it would take actually for a Wagner to say raid this mech with its torpedoes. That would be interesting. We have torpedo bombers from Thomas. Oh, torpedo bombers from Tagada as well have just sniped all 4 of these underwater mexes. And that's actually quite nice because you can see how spread out they're going to take a long time to send engineers to each of them. This engineer that's going to reclaim them may actually die on the way. We'll see. Can it? Will it escape? Oh, looks like it might for now. Thomas is torpedoing something. I have no idea what. The base mexes for Thomas are dying to frigates, but they are only 2-1. He's not too afraid of that. The land battle in the middle looks pretty reasonably even. Oh, this is not a good move order from Thomas at all. That was a bad waste of units. There's actually very few units here now. I even wasted flak as well. Another land attack on this side is being defended against by these hoplites. Uh-oh. There goes one. Can the other 2 get away? I don't think so. Nope. Wagners are really good versus hoplites because their Wagners are so fast. Hoplites are also a very quick unit with huge range, but Wagners have enough range to catch up and enough HP to survive long enough to catch up as well, so a very good unit to use against hoplites. Many frigates for Thomas, but none of them are killing anything on Tagada's side. He's just running around with his frigates trying to catch Tagada's frigates, which is an exercise of futility. You can see he's just losing all of these mexes in the water and doing no counter damage. So this situation, catching all the frigates is not really possible, and if you do kill all the frigates and you lose all your mexes, then it's down to how fast can you grab the reclaim from the frigates and how fast can you reclaim the mexes. If you can do those 2 things fast enough, then it's worth it to catch all the frigates, but I really don't think it's actually working out that way. Now this last engagement was quite good, but over the course of the game, having no damage on this side, all of these mexes being available and extracting mass all this time, I don't think it's actually worth it. You gotta have some counter raids at least, and I don't see Thomas being particularly fast to get the mass back. Like, this mass will take a while. A lot of it will. In the middle we have the land battle, and we're really seeing, well, it's just sort of fail micro, but also it's mainly the result of the initial drops, I think, are really the source of Tagada's advantage, and it's just sort of compounding now. As we approach 20 minutes, you see that Tagada has actually gained a pretty significant advantage, which is a sign of good play. You just sort of keep extending just a bit. You don't give your opponent a chance to get back into it by taking big risks, but just gradually make yourself more comfortable in the game. That's a nice T2 radar, T2 PGen adjacency. Let's see what kind of vision he gets from that. Yeah, quite good, yeah. Still not really going to spot a drop here, are you? So that drop came in, killed a couple of T1 mexes, not too important. We have... Wait, did I see... No, we don't have T2 Navy. Oh, there's a drop from Thomas. Thomas pulling out all the stops now. Tagada has one of the corners, Thomas seems to have the other. Well, no, he doesn't have the top side of that. Oh no! He queued up 25 Mantis on this tiny island. Well, that's 1200 mass wasted. Not exactly an efficient use of your resources. 1200 mass plus the factory. We're getting to 1500 mass there. In useless things, the transport gets dropped. It's only a 2-1 drop again. But it does get caught. Tagada's cleaned up the top side now. This extension here. Thomas, please don't attack like this. You know it gives me nightmares. Well, Tagada's running away. It's not single file, it's dual file, but still not great. He has a lot of T2 units in here. He could double back and wipe out this army perhaps. But he's just rushing in, and Tagada's microing pretty well. Still staying in range of the units at the front, but not allowing the rest of the units to catch up. And God, this fight is so efficient for Tagada. If he had kept microing back a bit further there, would have been even better. But he is eventually going to get run over here because there's just so many units. So many T2. So this expansion may actually die. On this side, the commander has actually gone north. He has the gun. He can easily defend these attacks. Frigates are killing base mexes again. Thomas is trying to do some counter raids, but he's losing his frigates to submarines. This expansion is dead, but all the T2 units may die. Depends what they're shooting. Well, he's shooting factories and things. Now he's back to shooting units. These rhinos and Wagners have gone very low now, and they will be killed. Tagada's in the water with stealth. And this attack was pretty good, but there's a lot of mass left here, which can be reclaimed very quickly. Have a drop to this location, but wow, this flak has 8 kills now. Will it get another? Oh man, 22 HP had very nearly killed another renegade. That hoplite has 1400 mass killed. Somebody commented that the hoplites seem really weak in one of the casts. Well, this one has, it just killed another inti. 1440 mass killed. Hoplites in the right hands are very powerful. Oh, look, just as it was taking off, it just killed that inti. Wow. Didn't even leave a wreck. That was pretty cool. And while we were admiring that hoplite, it seems like a very large T2 army has just killed the entire expansion in the bottom left of Thomas Hyatt. There's not much left for him. We go to the death cam and see just how little of the map he has access to now. Calls GG. He's starting to make some Corsairs, but Tagada is in the water with stealth, so it's going to be a tall order to get him with Corsairs. So T2 land really showing how strong it is on this map. It's a lot of T2 tanks that were built there. Look at this factory farm. Alright, so we're at 1-1. Thomas took the first, Tagada took the second. That's where we'll end this video. This is a best of 5 final, so it's first to 3, and we'll continue coverage of this final, see who gets the win in this tournament, which is Legend of the Stars qualifier number 2 in preparation of the end of year tournament. But it's a prize pool of $1,750, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Check out the links on the screen and in the description. And I'll see you all on the next cast. See ya.